This is Nathaniel Sosa Soapsetter. Today I want to talk to you about Afro Think Tank. He's an amazing man, African American man who moved to Nigeria and put so much investment into Nigeria and the city that he's in and the tribe that he invested in. And he is now a chief. And that is an amazing an accomplishment. Not only, as far as African Americans going back and moving to Africa, a lot of the African Americans have moved to big cities, Lagos, Accra, across West Africa, Dakar, Senegal, and Afro Think Tank. From what I've known and what I've seen, not only investing into the country and the bigger cities, but also investing into the smaller cities and the smaller tribes. And a lot of African Americans don't really invest into the smaller tribes or really invest into the tribes at all. It's mainly moving into the big cities and seeing what the big cities can offer them. Not too many of us African Americans really put that much investment into not only into the city, but into the tribes. Recently, I took the African ancestry. And the African ancestry, it actually breaks it down to the ancestry of what tribe you're from. And I'm on my mom's side, I'm from the Jola tribe, which originated in Guinea, Bissau. And again, I apologize if I'm saying the name wrong, but most of them have migrated to Senegal. And this great man, did investment. I don't know if he did the African ancestry to find out what tribe he's from, but he did the investment in the tribe, and now he's a chief. And that's just an amazing accomplishment. And congratulations, Afro Think Tank, on becoming a chief. Congratulations on your move to Africa, an amazing job that you're doing over there, an amazing investment that you're doing in Nigeria. Um, I just want to thank you for, sharing my videos. Most of my videos that have done a good job on talking about Africa or my experience at the hotels, especially my experience at the African Regent, which African Regent is believed to be the only black-owned hotel in Accra, Ghana. So that was another thing when I went to Accra and realizing that a lot of Africans in Africa deal with a lot of issues that African Americans deal with in America. In the African American neighborhoods, there are not a lot of black owned businesses. And it was surprising to see that in Accra, there's not a lot of, there are a lot of black owned businesses, but a lot of the major businesses are not owned by Africans. A lot of major businesses are owned by the Lebanese, Asians, and a lot of outsiders. So I stayed at the African Regent my second time going to Accra, and it was an amazing time. Spoke about my experience. Spoke about just my room and me walking a 4 mile walk. It's a 4 mile walk from Moving Pick Hotel to African Regents on the same street. And Afro Think Tank shared that video. And one thing about not just YouTube, but one thing about life in general, especially in America, that I've seen, that I've experienced, it's really hard to get support from black men. A lot of my support, no matter what I've done in teaching or in my businesses, a lot of my support comes from black women. And black men usually will criticize you first before they support you. And Afro Think Tank has supported me by sharing my videos. And I just want to thank them for that, because it's very hard to build community with black men that you don't know or you did not grow up with. And it's very hard to get support from black men that you don't know or you didn't grow up with. It is easier. It's hard in general to get support and camaraderie amongst black men, but it's a lot easier to get support and camaraderie from black men that you've known for the majority of your life, or at least for a couple of years, or at least that you've seen in person and built some contact with. And I've recently been taking my YouTube more serious as far as posting and trying to make videos. And so it's amazing that Afro Think Tank, with him being such a great YouTuber, has shown me support and putting my videos on his page. So again, I just want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for being a great mentor to the black community. not only in America, but also the Africans in Africa and the African diaspora across the world. You're doing, like I said, you're doing an amazing job in Nigeria. I've recently been able to travel more. When I very first started traveling, I was, of course, I would go to different cities across the states. And then I got, more and more into relationships, trying to, get married and engaged. And I put more investment in women than myself. So that kind of slowed me down as far as traveling. But recently putting more investment in myself and, having a great cousin like I do, reaching out and traveling to Africa. I've been to Ghana twice. And I do want to travel more. And I do know that the majority of the slaves that were sent to the Caribbean and to America and to the Americas in general were from Nigeria. I think I heard O'Shea Duke Jackson said about 80% of the slaves came from Nigeria, which could have been 80% could have came from the Benin Empire, because the Benin Empire was one of the biggest empires in West Africa, if not the biggest. And part of the empire was southern Nigeria. And watching a special on Netflix, as they talked about, I can't think of the exact name of but it had to do with the as far as a southern saying about a pig. And he went to Benin, and one of the first places he went to Benin, and the Benin Empire, like I said, is uh, one of the biggest empires in West Africa. And so could have been 80% of the slaves came from Benin Empire, or 80% of us have came from Nigeria, but majority of us have came from Nigeria. Like I said, I've done my ancestry on my mom's side, and it seemed like to have some of the Guinea and more of the Senegalese descent for myself. But I just want to thank Afro Think Tank as much investment he's put in Africa, and telling African Americans to invest and come to Africa. Because, as African Americans, we deal with a lot of, even now, we deal with a lot of racism, classism amongst African Americans, and a lot of racism amongst the whites and the Hispanics. And one of the saddest things, especially me working as a teacher and seeing amongst administrators, a lot of our powerful African Americans kind of take the mindset of colonialism, and they, even though they're black, they act as white, and the way they discipline blacks as if they were white, and as if they're not black, and as if it's not already, like it's not already hard to be black, and usually the next person they hire would be a white person. But all that being said, I just want to thank Afro Think Tank for supporting me by sharing my videos. And I just appreciate you for everything that you do. You're doing an amazing job as a YouTuber. You're doing an amazing job in your investment in Africa. And you're doing an amazing job as a chief. Hopefully one day I can visit Nigeria and, meet you in person. And, be able to meet you in person. Again, meet you in person, and just be able to sit down and let you know I appreciate everything you've done. All right, so again, this is Nathaniel Swopes of Swope Said It. You all have a great one.